Welcome to today's Explainer. In property and contract law, just holding on to an asset can create this really dangerous illusion that you actually own it. Today, we're unpacking a major 1967 landmark case, Credit Corp M. BHD versus Malaysia Industrial Finance Corp. And another. This whole case centers around a super intense dispute over a repossessed car, pitting an everyday hire against a strictly by-the-book finance company. It is absolutely foundational if you're studying contract law because it completely strips away our everyday assumptions about what it actually means to hold legal title to something.
Okay, let's dive into this by asking the core legal question at the absolute heart of this case. Does possession equal ownership? In everyday life, right, if you have physical control of something, we all just kind of assume it's yours. But in the realm of legal agreements, well, possession is often completely divorced from legal title. And this single question was the main battleground between the hirer and the finance company. The hirer firmly believed that having the car and paying money toward it gave him undeniable ownership rights. But the finance company, they were living in a very different legal reality.
Let's walk through the facts chronologically. It starts out pretty straightforward. A young man wants a car, signs a hire purchase agreement with a finance company, and happily drives away. For the first few months, everything goes perfectly according to plan. He dutifully pays his monthly installments. But then, right around month 4, financial trouble hits and he starts missing payments. The finance company sends out formal reminder notices, but the defaults continue. And that brings us to month 5, a critical escalation. The finance company sends out a repossession officer who legally takes the car right back from the defaulting hirer. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the massive legal disconnect this sparked between the two sides. The hirer was just absolutely shocked. His argument was, hey, I've already paid several installments, so I hold at least partial equitable ownership of this car. To him, that meant the repossession was entirely unlawful, and he actually filed a lawsuit demanding damages. But on the flip side, the finance company held a rigid, strictly legal stance. They argued that the second he defaulted, it triggered their absolute legal right to repossess. To them, those partial payments didn't transfer any ownership at all. They were just terms of a contract that the hirer had unfortunately breached.
So, this profound disconnect drags everyone straight into the courtroom. And here, the judge has to apply the governing framework, the Hire Purchase Act of 1967. The court looked at the situation and affirmed that a hire purchase agreement is exactly what it sounds like. It's a contract of hire, with a subsequent option to purchase. It is emphatically not an immediate sale. So despite the hirer's totally genuine belief that his payments were slowly buying him fractions of the car, the judge said no. Under the 1967 Act, the agreement was strictly hire purchase, meaning the finance company remained the absolute legal owner of the vehicle the entire time.
Right, so how exactly do you transition from just being a hirer to an actual legal owner? The judge broke it down into 2 mandatory steps that have to happen before legal ownership can actually transfer. Step 1, every single installment must be fully paid. You literally cannot fall short by even one payment. Step 2, the option to purchase must be formally exercised. It's only when that final payment clears and that specific option is triggered that ownership finally vests in the hirer. Because our guy defaulted midway through, he never hit Step 1, which means legally he couldn't even reach Step 2. Ultimately, the judge ruled squarely in favor of the finance company. The repossession was perfectly lawful because the hirer hadn't completed the agreement. And this gives us a definitive, punchy legal takeaway. Possession is not ownership. You can hold the keys, wash the car on weekends, and drive it every single day, but under a hire purchase agreement, you are legally just hiring that asset until the contract is 100% fulfilled. The finance company's right to protect their property remains perfectly intact if you default on your end of the bargain.
Which brings us to our final legal principle for today. Ownership transfers only after full payment and exercising the option to purchase. It's a strict mechanic of contract law. This case serves as a really powerful reminder of how the law actually interprets our financial commitments. It strips away all the emotion and just focuses on the statutory mechanics of the agreement. So I'll leave you with this to ponder. The next time you sign on the dotted line for a major asset, ask yourself, are you actually buying it today, or are you just renting the illusion of ownership until the very last cent is paid? Thanks for joining me for this explainer, and I hope it gives you a sharper lens for looking at your own legal agreements.